My bad. My bad. I actually clicked. As I was saying, getting great questions in the chat. Uh, Gotta disagree with you, JH. Already great questions in the chat. Egypt, I'm not really an expert on, but China, Taiwan, not an expert there either. But I can talk about China taking over Taiwan. Why humans want to start a war with other humans? Is $10,000 stop loss on Bitcoin a good plan? Great questions. What was that about immigration? Immigrants. That's the new name for prisoners of war, refugee. At the moment in America, sure. All right. Tone's stream starts with technical issues, not a surprise. Oh, wait, and there's other technical issues that I'm just gonna pull this up on YouTube. I gotta go to my channel. I gotta pull this up. All right. I asked in my moderator group if anybody wants to join me. I don't see any moderators yet. If you're a moderator on my channel, hey Sand Snake, how are you? Please take a look at Apple. I got in on the MRI 8. I did not wait. But looks like a reverse hammer on Friday. Don't get banned on. Hey Joe Colasari. Dude, you're welcome to join this stream and we can chat. We can chat markets, we can chat politics. I'll shoot you a Zoom link just in case. And if you decide to join, I'm probably gonna go on for at least an hour here. Let me send you the link here. Hold on. Q, it was in here. Joe Colasari. Good thing I made you a moderator, otherwise I wouldn't have spotted you in the chat. If you can join, join. If you can't join, no big deal. Okay. All right. Real quick, I did an interview with Cloaked Wireless, a great new SIM card provider. So check that out. You can pay for your SIM cards in Bitcoin. It gives you a beautiful layer of privacy. This would be an American phone number. This is a product for Americans. However, due to their awesome privacy tools, I've said all I can say. I'll leave it there. Okay. Satoshi Corner. Man, if I have I gotta compile all of these questions. All right, I'm gonna scroll back up. I'm gonna try to go through these one at a time. It's always frustrating to people on these streams where I just go off on tangents and I can't stay to one topic long enough. This is why I need like a host one day. Anyway, let's talk about the price. I am still bullish. The weekly time frame is bullish. The MRI is on a 5, which means we have at least one more month of upside. And the halving is still a month and a half away, maybe 7 weeks away. So we got so much time to reach an MRI top in the $80,000 range and then still pull back into the halving. The allocation chart is 100% long. You can see that we just had a rough MRI top candle. I think we already pulled back, and I think we're consolidating for another breakout. The daily chart is looking exactly like I wanted it to look from our last show yesterday morning with Matt McGregor. I'm going to delete these arrow lines. I don't really need them anymore. The pullback happened within a single day. I recognize that the pullback is over. And I went back into the market before even the green star candle showed up. I went back into the market somewhere in the middle of this candle on Wednesday the 6th. And now I am patiently waiting for a breakout above 70,000, taking us to 78,000, which is my next target. But the real targets are in the $80,000 range. Short-term chart, not very interesting. Here's a 4-hour chart. The markets are completely driven by US ETF trading hours. We saw this giant candle in the middle of the day. We saw this giant candle at near market open. If we go to the 1-hour chart, you can see the crazy candle happens at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. and this volatility happens at market close. I am not surprised. And I think the US market hours, the 7 hours during the day, will be the most relevant hours for Bitcoin going forward for the immediate future. We will see how that goes. Here are the ETF numbers. I'm going to have all these numbers Monday morning. We can have a little bit of an idea with some of the major ones as it stands right now. Let me just refresh this page. Yep, as expected, as of Thursday. This is a number as of Thursday. As of Thursday, Grayscale only has 400,000 Bitcoin. And I guarantee you, as of Friday, I don't want to put a date in here because this is as of Thursday. And iShares is probably also going to be as of Thursday. This is the BlackRock ETF. I really only need like the top 4. The rest are not going to make much of a difference. They're going to have over 200,000. This is as of March 8th. And that's Friday. So this maybe number is of Friday. I'm not sure. I really want to check this number Monday morning to see if it stays the same number of shares. I was really hoping they would break 200,000 on Friday's close. They have not yet. And I do want to go and grab the number for Fidelity and the number for ARK Invest. And Bitwise is actually holding a decent amount of Bitcoin. So, but they're way in the back there. You can open a new tab just in case, just to see. Maybe it's something interesting. So when it comes to Fidelity, this is March 8th. This is data as of March 7th. So Fidelity does not have the number as of Friday. This is the number as of Thursday as well. I will have the updated numbers for you on Monday night, Monday after market closes. So that's the new Fidelity number. This is all 0. I'm just going to put 0 across the board here. Actually, no, it's not supposed to be 0. It's supposed to be this. These numbers will, of course, adjust. And that's the Fidelity number. Here's the ARK Invest number. There it is. Shares outstanding. Nope, that's shares outstanding. Sorry. Here is the Bitcoin shares. It's actually similar. But that's the number of Bitcoins. ARK Invest is the only one that started their ETF where the price is 100 base multiple of, or a 10 base multiple of the number of Bitcoins they have. Wait, what am I missing here? Here is one more. Bitcoins in the trust. There it is. Invest code doesn't change. We can go and take a look because they have like over 5,000 Bitcoin. But I think Invesco's number of Bitcoin has not changed in a very long time. I actually don't have the exact number. I have to estimate it from their shares outstanding. Again, this is a Thursday number. And from shares outstanding, it is a little annoying, but I got to put that number here. Wow, they're actually lowering the number of shares. Interesting. So there's less Bitcoin. Very interesting. So you can see that wow, that's super interesting to me. One second, guys. Actually lowering the number of shares. Interesting. I wanted to pull it up on my YouTube. Let me go to the next tab. Let me go here. Let me go pay special values only. I didn't copy it. Shit. Super annoying. Right. So Invesco actually lost Bitcoin. And this is what's going to happen. You're going to see a lot of people start exiting all these other ETFs slowly and buying the big boys instead. So even though this week is not complete, we have a little bit of an idea of what is happening during that week. Now, not only is Grayscale bleeding Bitcoin, but so is Invesco. You can see how Invesco at one point had over 7,000 Bitcoin, and now Invesco only has 5.7 thousand Bitcoin. This is, of course, the Galaxy ETF, Mike Novogratz company, and they're not competing very well. And I'm curious what these other ones are as well. Like some of these are still growing. Franklin is slowly growing, and Valkyrie is kind of stuck where it is, and VanEck is slowly growing. So that's good. These other ones, not so much. And wow, kind of surprised. But it is interesting. It's interesting to know. And you can see that BlackRock is up 31,000 Bitcoin this week in their trust, in their back in the ETF. And BlackRock is now half the size of Grayscale. And just a month ago in mid-February, you can see how BlackRock, or let's say 2 months ago, well, 2 months ago was too early, right? So let's just go a month ago. So let's go on 2/9. So exactly 1 month ago, BlackRock only had 87,000 Bitcoin, and Grayscale had 465. Grayscale has lost 65,000 Bitcoin in a month, but BlackRock gained over 100,000 Bitcoin. That's a huge advantage for BlackRock. You can see it right there. So on the numbers so far, BlackRock is giving us the Friday number. Grayscale is not. So this will get skewed down. But you can see how I think this will be in the 20s, like maybe 28,000 or so, like 27, 28,000 new Bitcoin had to be added to the ETFs. Now, every week, only 6,300 Bitcoin get mined. And in 2 months, it's going to be half that. So if the ETFs continue to accumulate tens of thousands of Bitcoin every week, there's going to be a shortage of Bitcoin. And the price is just going to spike to some ridiculous value. You can see overall numbers. Let me see here. I think this needs to be updated. It does need to be updated. This is not M2. This is now O2. Oops. And this is now O3. And once I update these numbers, you see the big changes, right? So new ETF inflows is now over 400,000. That's all of these. And then when you factor in the outflow of GBTC, you have a total additional inflow of 182,000. That's impressive. That's on par with what MicroStrategy is holding, which is a ridiculous amount. All right, let's move on. Before I go on, hey guys, the Financial Summit is coming to the Maldives. You can get more information by going to financialsummit.com. We do have the dates. It's March 16 to March 21st of 2025. So it is not next week. It will be next year. And I'll put the dates up here once these dates pass to avoid any confusion. You can check out what the rooms will look like. Yeah, we're going to be updating this website. You can check out what the rooms will look like. You can select your room type. Sorry. Oh, we still have a deposit option. All right, we got to update that. Deposit thing is coming to an end. You're going to have to pay for your whole room. I know it's expensive, but it's totally worth it. And it's the Maldives. If you want to check out the rooms, click on room upgrade. And you'll see what the rooms look like. Oh, yeah, okay. These rooms are sold out now. We're selling out. I only pre-reserved 3 of these. They're not on the water. They're off to the side of the water. So the sold out rooms are these. These have all been sold out. So this is our community villa for everyone to enjoy at night. This is where the parties are. These 4 have already been sold out. These are still available for a small upgrade. And these are available if you book your ticket early. And after that, you're stuck in the middle of the island. And I only have 3 of these villas, only because I don't know how many people are going to want these villas. They're bigger. They're the biggest villas they have on the property. But they're not on top of the ocean. They are on the edge of the ocean. But they are the biggest. So I wasn't sure what kind of demand this will have. So only pre-reserved 3 of these. So once these 3 are gone, then they're gone. Yeah, that's it. All right, moving on with the rest of the charts. I have nothing to say about natural gas. I don't have much to say about oil, other than, well, let me see if the government has posted another oil statistic. Let me see. Yeah, we'll get to Victoria Newland. I see one of my moderators sent me a message. The date is still only on the 1st. Unfortunately, they haven't released additional data. Release date 3/6, next release date 3/13. So maybe they'll release it on 3/13 about the 6th. Yes, you can use the MRI on free trading view. You can. You're just limited to, you can probably only use the MRI and nothing else. But yes, you don't need a paid version of TradingView. If you are going to get the paid version of TradingView, you can help me out by creating a brand new account and using my affiliate link to TradingView. I hope it still works. This was my first ever affiliate link. Oh, US budget. Man, am I gonna have time to talk about this? The US government did release the next budget number at the end of the month. I haven't looked at it this month. Maybe we'll get to that. Let me go through the rest of the markets. Gold is super bullish, and I have a target of $3,000. S&P is super bullish, and I don't have a target on the S&P at all. My target for the S&P is infinity. My target for the S&P has always been infinity. And we will eventually reach infinity, because eventually the US dollar will go into hyperinflation and the S&P will go to infinity. All right, I got a couple of requests for some stocks. So let's take a look at those first. Litecoin is going to 0 faster than even I expected, and I had very low expectations. Ethereum is also going to 0, but it's doing it a lot slower than I anticipated. Doge is also going to 0, but for some reason it's pumping. So I'm not exactly sure why, nor do I care all that much. Monero is going to 0 at the pace I actually expected it to go to 0. I think even Litecoin will last longer than Monero. Monero is completely useless for anyone and anything. It is not as anonymous as people think. It is not as secure as people think. If someone is interested in an anonymous crypto payment, I strongly advise them to start using liquid Bitcoin. And if they don't understand why liquid Bitcoin is a huge improvement on Monero, then that person just doesn't understand how cryptocurrencies work, nor how decentralization works, or pretty much anything about the space. Binance, I'm still waiting for the SEC to take this company down, but since the SEC is grossly incompetent, that's probably never going to happen. Cardano is just totally stupid, and I don't want to spend any time on it. Solana is actually super bullish. I think Solana has a chance of going to ridiculous highs because Solana is a completely centralized VC-backed project. And because it's so centralized, people can actually find it useful. And everything else is pretty much going to zero. Well, I'm happy to see Jeb McCaleb scam at new lows. Always a pleasure to see that. Chainlink, I don't know what this disaster is or who uses it, but it's going to go away as well. IOTA, I should have just stayed down there. Totally stupid as well. Everything here is pretty dumb, especially B-Trash. B-Trash will hit its new low soon enough. Same thing here with BSV. Filecoin, I don't know why people thought this was useful. No idea what Matic does, but whatever they're doing, they're awful at it. It's at new lows. So silly for Telegram to have their own token. I'm happy that it's near zero, but I still like the Telegram app. EOS, total scam. That scams people out of 140,000 Bitcoin that they're still holding. At new lows, not surprised. And Ripple. God, I hope more people just sell all their life savings, put their children's college education into Ripple. Because if they think Ripple is going to go to new highs, their children probably don't deserve a college fund. The more people invest in this garbage and the faster they go broke, the better off the entire human civilization will be. So very happy to see this. Ugh. Well, this is BitGet's token. It's doing well for a while. And some other shit coins I never heard of. So, all right, enough of that. Let's go to the stock list. Man, yeah, I'm curious what your comments are to my views on shitcoins. All right, I'll try to go chats soon. Had a few requests. Hood, is this Robinhood? It's one of my most. I need to make a list of most evil like tones shit list companies. I hate seeing Robinhood go up this much. The chart is super bullish. I mean, all the children are trading on Robinhood. If you are trading on Robinhood, you are not a professional trader. You are a child. Please get off Robinhood unless you are 12 years old and it's the only platform that's available to you to trade real money. Next. ENPH. Oh, I've seen this before. It's a kind of energy company. Looks familiar. Looks really good. I mean, they're a huge lagger and they have bad earnings finally, but they're looking really good. The daily chart is bullish. The weekly chart is bullish. And the monthly chart is bullish without a green star yet. This looks very, very promising. Looks bullish. I don't like laggers, but bullish. It's in that Tesla realm. That's promising, should be breaking out, but isn't. Where are the other stocks? TSM and Tesla. TSM, never heard of it. Taiwan Semiconductor, great. Monthly, bullish. Weekly, bullish with an MRI top incoming. So topping. This is what the MRI alert service is for, guys. Please sign up to and try the MRI alert service. Go to tradingmri.com or signal.mri, signal.tradingmri.com. But it's if you Google tradingmri.com, you'll get there. And it'll tell you right there whether the stock is bullish or bearish. And it can alert you on Telegram, in email, on your phone number. We can look up, TSM, and you will see. Oh, do we not have TSM? No, we do. It's right there. Oh, I need to add it. Oh, what happened here? I need to email support, tell them to add TSM. Too bad. It's probably not an American company. No one's demanded it yet on the service. Oh, that sucks. We don't have TSM. Too bad. Shoot. Yeah, it needs to be requested. I guess it's not an American company. If it's not an American company, I mean, there's so many stocks in the world that they need to be requested, some of them, to get the data, because data costs money. It is on the New York Stock Exchange, so I am a little surprised. I'm a little surprised. Maybe the original is not, the main one is not. Interesting. Should have data for that. The weekly is topping, and the daily is probably topping as well. Not yet, but it will be topping. But yeah, overall, very, very bullish. Tesla had a very disappointing day on Friday. I really thought Tesla can close closer to its max pain for option expiration near 190. Tesla opened at 181. It traded as high as 182.5. I am bullish on Tesla here. I still think it has a high probability of going to the top of the range and eventually to new highs. I have been doing some fundamental research on Tesla, but fundamental research is not my specialty. I have some options trades on Tesla, but I have plenty of time, so I'm not in a rush. The bulk of my portfolio is, of course, in Bitcoin. So my retirement account is performing very, very well. All right, I'm going to go from the top of your chat. Will China eventually take over Taiwan? And if so, what are they waiting for? That is a great question. Taiwan is part of China. There is a one China policy that even America says that, look, what is American one China policy? Taiwan is China. You can go to the State Department's website. State Department. U.S. relations with Taiwan. U.S. Department of State. This is an American government website. I'm going to let the AI read.
An official website of the United States government. Here's how you know. Official websites use Gov. As a leading democracy and a technological powerhouse, Taiwan is a key U.S. partner in the Indo-Pacific. Though the United States does not have diplomatic relations with Taiwan, we have a robust unofficial relationship. The United States and Taiwan share similar values, deep commercial and economic links, and strong people-to-people ties, which form the bedrock of our friendship and serve as the impetus for expanding U.S. engagement with Taiwan. Through the American Institute in Taiwan, AIT, a non-governmental organization mandated by the Taiwan Relations Act to carry out the United States' unofficial relations with Taiwan, our cooperation with Taiwan continues to expand. Taiwan has become an important U.S. partner in trade and investment, health, semiconductor and other critical supply chains, investment screening, science and technology, education, and advancing democratic values. The United States' approach to Taiwan has remained consistent across decades and administrations. The United States has a long-standing One China policy, which is guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, the 3 U.S.-China joint communiques, and the 6 assurances. We oppose any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side. We do not support Taiwan independence, and we expect cross-strait differences to be resolved by peaceful means.
Did you guys hear that, or should I click on that again? We oppose any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side. We do not support Taiwan's independence. This is the official U.S. government policy on Taiwan. So it states right here on the U.S. government website that Taiwan is not an independent nation and Taiwan is part of China. So your question says, when will China eventually take over Taiwan? According to the U.S. government, Taiwan is mainland China. Okay, so your other question, what are they waiting for? They're not waiting for anything. According to pretty much everyone, Taiwan is part of China. Okay, so they don't need to invade Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China. Okay, now the reason that's making it kind of complicated is basically the U.S. meddling and the U.S. Basically the Taiwanese politicians that get elected in Taiwan are products of American education and American, I guess, brainwashing influence. So the current person that was elected in Taiwan was trained and educated by the U.S. government, no different than someone like Zelensky. So what China is trying to avoid is Taiwan doing exactly what Ukraine did in order to start a civil war between China and China. Okay, so right here. So if you're ever in doubt on why China has not invaded Taiwan yet, you go to the government's website and you read right here that the U.S. government opposes any Taiwanese independence. It says it right here, black and white. Now, in reality, the U.S. government is trying to create a conflict between Taiwan and China. They're trying to cause a revolution in China through Taiwan, forcing China's hand to invade Taiwan the way the U.S. government forced Russia's hand to invade Ukraine. So it's the same Ukrainian playbook playing out in Taiwan over and over again. Okay, it's very, very simple. It's stated right there. Okay, that concludes our discussion on China and Taiwan. Tone, do you think it's useful to put a $10,000 below stop loss for example, in case of a collapse? I think 10,000 is a little like, oh, actually, I don't know. Let me see. So on a weekly scale, look, I would be comfortable with any Bitcoin price about 40,000, really. On a daily, it depends on your leverage. So based on my allocation, if the moving averages cross, yeah, $10,000 stop loss is reasonable. If Bitcoin is crossing below 60,000, I will be lowering my 100% bullish allocation. So yeah, looks fine to me. 10,000 is about right. Next. Immigrants, that's the new name for prisoners of war, refugee. Yeah, we talked about that in our last stream. No real need to talk about it more. All right, I'm going through your live chat now. Technical issues. Yep, that's exactly right. Tone, grayscale stocks are booming. Have you seen this? No, I have not. I don't really want to look. Tone, please take a look at Apple. Sure. I talked about Apple, I think, on our last stream. Looks like you went in early. Yeah, looks like a good buying opportunity here. We did break the MRI support line on the daily. I don't like that. We had an extension C. We had a reversal candle. We had a nice bounce on Friday. The weekly chart is troublesome. So I would not be very bullish on Apple. I would be bullish on a daily perspective, but not on a weekly perspective, and certainly not on a monthly perspective. So I would be very, very cautious in going long Apple. Tone, please talk about compassionate leaders. Okay. Causing conflict and unable to understand when they have lost, so they double down versus realistic leaders who know when to stop their shit. So you're never going to get a leader admitting their mistake if the leader has another election to win. This is the problem with a constitutional republic like the United States. Not a single elected official, like the only branch of the American government that is able to admit that they've made a mistake is a member of the Supreme Court. Because a member of the Supreme Court is a lifetime position. So a member of the Supreme Court can say, you know what? 5 years ago, when I ruled on so-and-so, I made a mistake. And if I can go back in time, I would do it differently. No elected politician can say that. Not even Trump. Like, we know how evil these vaccines are. And Trump is still advocating for more vaccines. And he believes that vaccines help. And he still clings to the fact that he made the vaccines possible in such a short amount of time. Now, a real leader would admit that the vaccines was a bad idea, the vaccines are dangerous, and no one should take them. Just like the, what do you call them? Inspector General of Florida. But Trump will never admit this because Trump is going for re-election and Trump will never admit he is wrong. That's the problem. So the only leaders that can admit they've been wrong are leaders that don't stand for re-election or leaders like a Putin that has an 80% approval rating and knows he's going to get re-elected. Like Putin admits that he was played for a fool by the West in their promises over the Minsk agreement and all the other promises, the promises that that were given to him, that Ukraine would sign a peace deal in March of 2022, a few weeks after he invaded. That's why he removed his troops from Kiev. And instead of Zelensky signing the peace deal, which apparently was pretty much all said and done, he did not sign the peace agreement. And then they used the fact that Putin voluntarily moved his forces out of Kiev, that somehow the Ukrainian incredible military forced the Russians back out of Kiev. And by Russia voluntarily removing those troops back, and he pretty much, he hasn't fully admitted that it was a mistake, but he pretty much has hinted that that was a mistake. So when you have leaders that stand for election, they will never admit the mistake. Then you have the European leaders that are just so evil and so brainwashed that don't stand for election that would also never admit a mistake because they don't care to admit the mistake because they don't care what the European people think. I have such low expectation of Europe. I don't even want to go there. The only country I still want to visit is Portugal. I kind of like that country. Good food, good wine. And that's about it. And I want nothing to do with Western Europe. I really want to go to Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe still remembers the days of communism, and they're kind of they're a little better at, you know, identifying the bullshit, and they're a little better at not being brainwashed after communism for 70 years. So I'm and the only leader in Europe that I respect is Viktor Orban. I also respect Nigel Farage, and to a significantly lesser extent, George Galloway, who just got elected to the British Parliament. I'm happy he got elected to the British Parliament. We discussed Galloway on the last stream. He's going to be a pain in the ass to the British establishment. They are freaking out. But at the end of the day, George Galloway is a communist, and I just don't like communists. But I do like his stance on the war, and I do like his independent thinking. It's just that his independent thinking will eventually lead him down a very dark path. That's my short version of George Galloway. And yes, he has referred to himself as a Marxist communist, and that's why I have a really foul taste in my mouth over George Galloway, but he says great stuff. I don't know everyone in the European politics, so forgive me if I don't know some of your, just like a lot of Europeans may not know a bunch of American senators or congressmen, and I know more names in that realm. Macron is potentially, Macron could potentially be sentenced, should be sentenced to a insane asylum. Macron, a fuse blew in Macron's head. Macron is potentially taking France into a direct confrontation with Russia. Germany is potentially taking Germany into a direct confrontation with Russia. Germany probably has not learned from the last two times they started a confrontation with Russia. I'm pretty confident that if Germany starts another war with Russia, the German land will no longer be livable. Russia will not allow Germany to kill another 20 million Russians. They will make sure Germany is wiped off the face of the earth before another 20 million Russians die fighting Germany. The confrontation between Russia and Germany this time is going to end very, very quickly. And if the entire world has to die from the perspective of Russian senior officials, so fucking be it. That's as bluntly as I can say. So that leaked phone call conversation by the German generals is a total effing disaster. And this is why Olaf Scholz is freaking out. World War II deaths. Images. This is how many people died during World War II. Maybe you should look at it on a pie chart. No, but I need it by country. There it is. World War II military deaths. I actually had no idea China lost that many people. Really? China? Yeah, China. No shit. Look at the total deaths. Now, orange is civilian deaths. Red is military deaths. See this number? This is Russia. This is the Soviet Union. Almost 24 million dead, with more than half of them being civilian. Every single Russian knows this statistic. Russia is already pissed that they are destroying tanks in Ukraine, German tanks in Ukraine, with SS German swastikas on those tanks, have come back to fight Russia again, right? So Russia is already pissed at that, okay? And Russia is going to make sure that if there is another military confrontation between Soviet Union and Germany, these bars are completely flipped. And if no one is around to make another chart, Russian senior military doesn't give a shit. Okay, that's as bluntly as I can state it. Fabio says Russia is pissed, but Russia invaded. That's irrelevant. What Russia did in Ukraine is completely irrelevant. What happened between Germany and Russia 70 years ago, completely irrelevant. And trust me, every single Russian remembers World War II. 1 second, I gotta grab a call. All right, I'm back. So yeah, that leaked phone call is a big problem, huge problem for Germany. Yeah, no audio. I have to pick up a call. When your super chat. Oh, I'll get to it. I'm sure I'll get to it. Anyway, that's your summary of the leaked phone call in a nutshell. Now, Olaf Scholz is freaking out, and he's saying they're not going to deliver these missiles into Ukraine. There's a high probability the missiles are already there. Now, Macron is freaking out because Russia targeted a bunch of French military and killed them all in Ukraine. And Macron is freaking out because he has to explain to the French public why probably hundreds of official French military have already died. And he's claiming that they were unofficially there, but we all know they were officially there. And he now needs to send French military there. So they're like, hey, we're sending 1,000 French military. They're only going to send like 300 because the rest of them were already killed. And then they're going to say, oh, Russia killed them all. And now we need to have more Americans come and help them. The whole thing is insanity, what is happening in Ukraine right now. So Macron and so France and Germany want to literally start another World War II against Russia. It didn't work out last time. It's going to be even worse this time. Though France was against Germany in World War II, however, Germany took France, I think, in 3 months or 3 weeks. I don't remember. And Germany was not a factor in World War II because, sorry, France was not a factor in World War II because they pretty much got taken out by the German military in the first, I don't know, few months of the war. Okay, now let's go on with the rest of your questions. Macron lost it. Hey, World of Rusty. All right, I'm just going through your I'm just going through the whole chat. Tone, when do you think they will dumb on US? What? Guys, please double check your questions and what you're writing. X1 hex, I hex HAX, not the scam version. I don't understand your question at all. 100,000 live stream. Yeah. If we go to 100,000, I'll definitely live stream. Now, remember, I have a very selfish reason as to why I don't want French soldiers on American soil and why I don't want German missiles in Ukraine targeting Russian civilian infrastructure and why I don't want American soldiers in Ukraine. And the reason is because I don't want to die sitting here in Panama because idiots have forced Russia to start using slightly more advanced weapons that could basically annihilate the entire planet. So this is why every country needs to butt the hell out and get out of Ukraine so that this thing can come to an end and the entire planet is not in danger. And this is the stupidity of these World Economic Forum brainwashed politicians that they think Russia is actually bluffing. In Putin's coherent address to his nation, he made it very clear that if Germany and countries similar to Germany decide to enter this conflict, Russia will declare war on Germany. And reading between the lines, Russia will not be sending they're not going to raise a 20 million people army again. They're going to just wipe Germany out from the face of the earth, okay? And then we'll see what happens to the rest of the planet. That's what Putin made very, very clear in his speech. And that's why Olaf Scholz is freaking out. And no one else seems to care about it for some reason. These proxy wars that the US starts everywhere, eventually it's going to end badly. The sooner the United States breaks up into multiple countries, the safer the entire planet is going to be. Because if the US stays as a single nation, I have a bad feeling as to how the US dominance of the world is going to end. And it might end with, you know, maybe a few people down in South Africa surviving. I have no idea. Tone, since Bitcoin is driven by US market hours, do you think looking at charts of the ETF are more relevant than the index? The index is still more relevant. Bitcoin still trades 24/7. I still prefer looking at the index. No, you're right. IC3. There's never a shortage of Bitcoin. You can always sell more Bitcoin. But the price of that Bitcoin is going to be significantly higher. Tone, any thoughts on Victoria Nuland resigning from the Department of State? I don't think she resigned. I believe she was fired. Victoria Nuland should be in prison. She should be in solitary confinement for the rest of her horrible life. Victoria Nuland is one of the most evil people that has ever been born. And she's responsible for millions of deaths already. And I don't think she's gone. She's going to be an advisor. Victoria Nuland is one evil person. If you want to learn more about Victoria Nuland, go find the YouTube channel of Gonzalo Lira, who was killed in a Ukrainian prison, by the way. Gonzalo Lira, Victoria Nuland. She did a big deep dive on her life. Here it is. So you can Google it the way I just did. You can find it. It was a very good video where he spent 2 hours talking about the history of Victoria Newland. It was excellent. It has 390,000 views. It was very, very, very informative video by Gonzalo Lira on who Victoria Newland is. All right, let's go on. What do I think about AMD? Yeah, see, this is why we're all over the place, because I'm just doing audience Q&A. Whoa, AMD is super bullish. That is the monthly chart. It is very bullish. Here is the weekly chart. It is also bullish on an extension CN reversal candle, but a green star candle, so it's still more bullish than bearish. And on a daily scale, however, it is coming up on an MRI top, maybe a pullback down to 180, and then I think AMD likely has more upside. Case, thank you for your super chat. I already looked at your stocks that you wanted me to look at. Tone, how about the 10K stop loss in Bitcoin in case of a black swan event? I think a black swan event would take Bitcoin way lower than 10K down. It will probably take it down to 40,000 or lower. Hey, Tone, I purchased the MRI indicator on the 6th of March. Since then, I have been added to multiple groups on Telegram and WhatsApp. Really? I didn't do that. Hold on, let me see. Let me get back to your comment here. DM me. Since then, I have been added to multiple groups on Telegram and WhatsApp. So I'm concerned if it's just a coincidence or data is leaked. While I don't do anything with people's phone numbers, and I run my own server, I don't share data with anyone. So yeah, I mean, if you join the MRI Telegram group and your number is publicly visible, then anyone from the Telegram group could add you to other groups. I mean, the MRI Telegram group has over 1,000 people in it, so I don't control what people do. I personally do not share people's private information with anyone. I take that very, very seriously. Yeah, I run my own server, so it's as far as I know, my database has not been leaked. I would have known by now. Uh, 900K this cycle is probably very optimistic. Well, Himanshu, if you are not in the Telegram group, then I have no idea how anyone could have known you bought the MRI indicator, right? The only way to know is, and the access to the Telegram group is in the confirmation email of the MRI purchase that also gives you the educational videos on how to trade the MRI. So there is a link in that Telegram group for you to join the MRI group chat. But if you never joined the MRI group chat, then there's no way that I could have been the cause of you being added. I don't even mandate you providing a phone number, right? So if you didn't provide a phone number when you were purchasing the MRI, and I don't ask for your phone number, I mean, there's a field there, but you don't have to fill it out. It's an optional field. So if you didn't fill out your phone number by purchasing the MRI, it's impossible for me to have a leak that adds you to WhatsApp groups. It's because you need the phone number to do so. Andreas, your super chat. Hey, Tone, please check the daily Bitfarms plus earnings and NVIDIA daily drop. Thanks. Next time, maybe I join online as a guest. I know you since 2017, Bitcoin show at Prague. Awesome. Yeah, we can take a look at those. So we can look at NVIDIA. Once again, I did not think NVIDIA would go this high after earnings. That's a huge daily drop on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is just pulling back. NVIDIA is still totally bullish, but it is pulling back to a more reasonable value. Does this mean NVIDIA is going to go down? I mean, NVIDIA is like in a like phase one. Oh, run phase two probably of hyperwave. Will it go down to the hyperwave line? I'm not sure. I'm gonna drop this line. It's kind of annoying. I don't know. It's hard to analyze stocks that are flying this high. NVIDIA is still overall bullish. It's bullish on the weekly, and it's bullish on the monthly. But on a daily, it had a bad candle. I don't know what that means next week. I don't. I wouldn't be long through the weekend. That's for damn sure. Let me glance at Tilray. Oh, Tilray, maybe finally ready to go back up. Very cheap stock. I don't like the double bottom, but that's a nice daily candle there. MRI buy tomorrow. And weekly is not good, and monthly is probably not good. It's not. And Bitfarms. How's Boeing doing after their airplane seemed to have doors blown off mid-flight? Consolidating. Surprise is doing this well. All right, looking at your live chat. MSTR versus Bitcoin. Oh, no, wait, Bitfarms. Forgetting. Yeah, I'm super disappointed in Bitfarms. I had my trades. The trades were profitable up here. I took half the profit from those trades. They were options related. And the other half of my trade is currently in a losing position on that half the trade. But since I already took profit, my overall trade is still profitable. But I'm super disappointed with Bitfarms. I really wish I bought CleanSpark instead. It was like a coin flip. Should I buy Bitfarms? Should I buy CleanSpark? I went with Bitfarms. Clearly should have gone with CleanSpark. I don't care about the other publicly traded miners. Don't ask me about the other publicly traded miners. The only two that I like and trust are CleanSpark and Bitfarms. We can look at I'd rather look at Bitcoin versus BTC first. So BTC USD divided by MSTR. So this is the price of Bitcoin divided by the price of MicroStrategy. So when this is falling, it means that, when this is falling, It means that Bitcoin is outperforming MicroStrategy. Let me make sure. Hold on. This is Bitcoin reflected in. Oh, I'm on a monthly chart. That's why it could be confusing to me. Okay. So you see this just crash, right? And we can compare that to how MicroStrategies did. So because it crashed, we're dividing this by a larger number. So when this is falling, MicroStrategies is doing well against Bitcoin. And when this is rising, Bitcoin is doing well against MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy started purchasing Bitcoin in 2020. And you can see that since 2020, Bitcoin was still doing better than MicroStrategy. And only in 2022 did it change. Since 2022, that's when MicroStrategy started performing much better than Bitcoin because they have accumulated so much Bitcoin that it started to be a leverage play on top of Bitcoin. So right now, MicroStrategy is performing way better than Bitcoin because they're both rising. When the market flips and Bitcoin starts to go down, it's very likely Bitcoin is going to go up against MicroStrategy when the market is falling. And right now, clearly, it looks like MicroStrategy is way better option than Bitcoin. All right. Tone, do you recommend trying to pay off your mortgage before investing in stocks? No, I don't. Your mortgage should be at a very low interest rate. Hopefully you got that mortgage before, prior to 2 years ago. Your mortgage could be sitting at 3 to 4%. And that is, it's way better to just pay that 3 to 4% and profit 8% from the stock market. All right, I looked at NVIDIA already. I'm just going through your live chat. Are stablecoin shitcoins only when they're algorithmic? Only when they are algorithmic, right? Or not backed at all. When your stablecoin is redeemable for fiat money like Tether or USDC, it is not a shitcoin in my book. Only when it's algorithmic like DAI is it a shitcoin. Yeah, no, I don't read. I let the AI reader do the work. It's not really AI. It's just like a computer program that reads my text on the screen. Yeah, ban anyone that's pushing a coin, like permanently. Like I don't give a shit about those people. All right, still going through your live chat. The thought that if Taiwan falls, Japan is next. That is ridiculous. This is the product of, you know, it's insanity. China has no interest in taking over Japan, just like Russia has no interest in taking over Germany again. Okay, there is zero interest in that. The only interest that Russia has is in land around the world that is dominated by ethnic Russian speakers. That's it. That's the only land that Russia cares about. And the same goes for other land. In fact, that's how World War II started. Germany wanted the land back that they lost in World War I that was occupied by Poland. Did anyone ever ask, why did Germany invade Poland first? They were going to get their land back. The land that was taken from Germany by Poland in World War I reparations. It was called the Great War back then. So once again, we're going to go to a Google map. Oh, why don't I just click on here, right? I'm not a World War II historian, and it's even worse in World War I. I'm in Panama. So Panama has a very advantageous wind pattern. So when the idiots in this country and bigger idiots in this region force Russia's hand and nuclear fallout happens, I'm living in a pretty strategic place where the wind pattern will blow all that radiation back into Florida, basically, unfortunately. But I like Florida. But that's where it's headed, right? I mean, that's not why I moved to Panama, but if I'm going to be anywhere in the world when all out, nukes start flying, I would rather be here. Like there's other places, right? Like maybe down here in Argentina, but based on current Argentina's president, he'll be all in that mess. He'll be on the side of Ukraine. He'll be, he'll be in Ukraine, helping to push the buttons. So that's not good for Argentina. So that's not good for like their neighbors. But right here in Panama is great. Because if you look at wind patterns, Panama, hurricane, paths, right? Or if you just look at hurricane paths in general, right? Like if you look at historical Caribbean hurricane paths. I can't spell, guys. This is why I have an e-reader. If you look at the history of hurricanes, like here they are. So the history, the last 100 years of hurricane history. Jesus Christ. And wow, it's like 1990s dial-up. Good job, government websites. Wow, that is a really high definition picture. Wow. It's like 1998 all over again, and there is a slow picture of Cindy Crawford with no clothes. Let me stop there. Going back to my childhood memories. So again, here's the path of wind and which way hurricanes blow. And here is Panama, right there. Right there, there's Panama. So if you want to avoid hurricanes, there's no better place to be than Panama. Right there. Oh, wow, that is a serious zoom in. So yeah, so anything that happens here, that nasty radiation, this is where it's going. This is where it's going. Nice and clear down here. All right, where was I? I was going to Google Map. And how did I even get on this topic? Hold on. Oh, right. So Russia is only interested in land that has native Russians living on that land. Now, we can go full conspiracy and say that China is infiltrating all these countries with Chinese nationals, and then all of a sudden, in 3 generations, that land is occupied by Chinese ethnic people, and then China comes in and takes that land over. Yes, the answer is that's possible. Okay, it's happening to Europe right now, right? In about 40 years, 80% of Europe could be dominated by Muslims, and because they took in so many Muslims, and they're having way more kids than traditional Europeans. So in 100 years, it's very possible that the majority of the population in France and Germany is not white. It's very, very possible that it can go in that direction. Okay, and then, well, it's not like Russia, which is a single nation. But yes, the laws in these countries will change, and it's possible that in 100 years, the entire country of France is under Sharia law. That is very, very possible. Okay, don't underestimate that possibility. Okay, is that good or bad? Depends. Depends on which side of Sharia law you stand on. So, yes, there is a lot of ethnic Russians living in Latvia. So if Latvia decides to do something super stupid, Russia will take half that country. Okay, my grandfather is buried in Riga, Latvia. Okay, my grandparents fought in World War II for the Soviet Union. Belarus has a lot of ethnic Russians, but Belarus has not been infiltrated by the US as much as they tried, and Belarus is on good terms with Russia. Lithuania does not have a lot of ethnic Russians, but Lithuania is in the way of Russian territory connecting with Russia. So if Lithuania decides to do something stupid, there will be zero like empathy from Russia to Lithuania, and they're done. Just like there's very little empathy from Russia to Germany. In fact, the one with the most empathy towards Germany is Vladimir Putin, because he speaks fluent German and he worked and lived in Germany. So if anyone has a soft spot for Germany in all of Russia, it's actually Vladimir Putin. You replace Vladimir Putin by anyone else near the top of the Russian government, and you will see a completely different stance towards Germany. It's actually going to be aggressive. And half of Ukraine is ethnic Russians, and a big chunk of Moldova is ethnic Russians. And the reason why a big chunk of Moldova is ethnic Russians is because the south of Ukraine is full of ethnic Russians, and Moldova is a bordering state. Very few Russians in Romania, very few Russians in Hungary, very few Russians in Slovakia, very few Russians in Poland, right? So, but there are lots of ethnic Russians in North Georgia. So therefore, Russia has an interest in Georgian land. And that is why this region and this region is now quasi-Russia, because Georgia decided to do something stupid in 2008, like tell Russia to go F themselves, they're going to join NATO, and they fired on the Russian military. So Russia said, okay, fine. They killed the entire Georgian military in about a month. The US did not come to help, because Georgia's politicians were idiots, and they ended up losing a chunk of their land, which could have been completely avoided by Georgian politicians not doing something stupid like telling Russia they're going to join NATO and put, destructive missiles on the Russian border. Armenia decided to do something stupid and tell Russia the same exact thing that Georgia did. Russia did not need to invade Armenia. Azerbaijan did it for them by Russia removing their military from protecting Armenian land. And suddenly, a big chunk of Armenia suddenly became Azerbaijan. I'm surprised there's no disputed land border here in Armenia. Where's Nagorno-Karabakh? I can never spell that properly. Uh, Karabakh. There it is. No. Armenia, man. Armenia. I don't know how to spell it. I have no idea how to spell it. Let me try. Jesus Christ. No, that's the Russian version. How do you say it in English? All right, here it is. Where is it? They usually do like an outline. Like even Google's confused. Like I still don't know where this is. Like I know I have a general idea where it is, but I'm trying to find it on a map. And anyway, well, let's go back to your live chat. So idiots are trying to convince the world that if China takes Taiwan, they're going to take Japan. Taiwan is already China. Why the hell does China want to govern Japan? Taiwan is full of ethnic Chinese. And the last time I checked, Japan is not full of ethnic Chinese. So it is the dumbest thing in the world for anyone to believe that because China fully integrates Taiwan, that somehow they're going to take over Japan next. It's one of the dumbest things that the United States School of Communist brainwashing is doing to people. Zemelek, if you want to get into options, I strongly recommend my options course. Is Tasty Trade any good? I have no idea. I don't watch Tasty Trade. Guys, I do not follow other traders. I do not follow their ideas. I learned how to trade myself. I came up with my own strategies. I only follow my own ideas. So my motto to it all is you purchase or find a free version of a good educational course that teaches you how to not follow any other traders. My Mastering Options course teaches you how to trade options. It doesn't teach you how to follow me trading options. It teaches you how to trade options on your own, okay? So I would start here and try not to watch anyone else's trades then after. That's my only advice. Himanshu, yes, there is a Telegram channel for those with the MRI. Please go to your confirmation email with the educational video, and there is a link to that Telegram group in the email. And please join that group. Hey, Tone, why would a Grayscale trust in Chainlink be trading at 9x the spot price? Because people are idiots. Hopefully you can answer that. I can't answer that. I can't explain why idiots are idiots. Sunk cost fallacy. Yes, true. In many things. Orban is the worst. Orban is the only EU politician I respect. That's the list. And Nigel Farage, but he's not a politician anymore. That's it. That's the list. Orban is the worst because Orban has an ability to think for himself and make the best decision for his country and the survival of his people. And all other EU leaders have zero regard for the well-being of their country or the well-being of the ancestors that grew up on that land. They are all about globalization, globalism, open borders, bribery, how much money they can get, how to get on the Marxist Klaus Schwab communist agenda. That's every single EU leader except one, Viktor Orban. Maybe, I mean, Serbia is not in the EU, and countries like Croatia are on the border. Putin actually did make Russia great again. You can deny it all you like, but he did. I already talked about Macron. Look at TM. What the hell's TM? Oh, Toyota. Ooh, what a beautiful MRI top on Toyota. And a reversal candle. Perfect. Wow. Daily. I think I should look at Toyota on a different exchange. It should be on the Japanese exchange. Oh, does it trade on the London exchange? Interesting. It doesn't have the liquidity on, oh, it's even worse. Yeah, I guess it trades on a Japanese market. That's why you have these gaps every single day. So it's really hard to follow the MRI on a daily scale. On a weekly scale, it will be much cleaner. And it's a weekly MRI top with monthly MRI top as well. Wow. I would be careful with Toyota. Tone, do you think if Trump wins 2024 and the US turns around, US will not turn around? I am sorry to bust people's bubble. Even if Trump gets elected, and that's a big big if. Personally, I think Trump would be, to quote 50 Cent, dead or in jail. So I don't believe Trump will be elected. I give it less than a 50% chance that Trump will be elected. Now, if I'm wrong and Trump is elected, I don't believe Trump will be able to, I think Trump will be able to do jack shit to change anything. He will change nothing. He cannot change the path of the United States. The United States educational system is too broke. The United States, the current Gen Z, the current millennials are too brainwashed. I'm sorry to bust the bubble, but it is too late. I am going to debate this with Joe Colasari on a space. It is too late to save the United States. There is a fraction of the United States that could be on the right path if the United States breaks up, and even that is not guaranteed. The United States, unfortunately, is done. So Trump can do his best, but he will not be able to reverse the fate of the Titanic because the iceberg has already hit. So he can potentially start to reverse things, but whoever is president after Trump, they will undo everything Trump does. Yes, it's possible that Trump can get into power and do something similar to what Piaget did in Chile without the murder of the communists. But everything up to that point needs to be done in the United States. So I strongly recommend people read up about the history of Chilean dictator. They call him a dictator. Piaget. Boom. Okay. The military dictatorship of Chile. Now, the military dictatorship of Chile is over-demonized by the West. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't a military dictator. And he did line up the communists and execute them. And he's one of the only, leaders in modern history that rounded up the Marxists and the communists and executed them. Now, Hitler's Germany was also very anti-communist, and that's why the Nazi Germany eventually attacked Russia. because they were very anti-communist. But they were also anti a lot of other things. But the Chilean military dictatorship was specifically anti-communist. And he went a little bit beyond what I would recommend to clean up your country. And here's what they sneakily don't tell you, and it's probably been already removed from Wikipedia. As much hate as the Piaget dictatorship of the mid-1970s would want you to believe, throughout the early 1980s and through the majority of the 1980s, Chile was the #1 economy in all of Latin America. Okay, so and then until Venezuela surpassed them, and Venezuela then went full communist, and then you saw what happened to Venezuela. So if we specifically focus on what, and he doesn't even have an expert, he never even had an expertise in the economy, right? His expertise in the economy was capitalist markets. So if we focus on the economy, okay, if we focus on the economy and we let the AI do the reading.
Augusto Pinochet.
Jesus.
Augusto Jose Ramon Pinochet Ugarte, November 25, 1915, December 10, 2006. The Church report investigating the fallout of the Watergate scandal stated that while the U.S. tacitly supported the Pinochet government after the 1973 coup, there was no evidence that the U.S. was directly involved in it. In 1973, the Chilean economy was deeply depressed for several reasons. Allen's government had expropriated many Chilean and foreign businesses, including all copper mines, and had controlled prices. Inflation had reached 606%, 81-82. Income per capita had contracted by 7.14% in 1973. By mid-1975, after 2 years of Keynesianism, the government set forth an economic policy of free market reforms that attempted to stop inflation and collapse. Pinochet declared that he wanted to make Chile not a nation of proletarians, but a nation of proprietors. 88. To formulate the economic rescue, the government relied on the so-called Chicago Boys and a text called El Ladrillo, and although Chile grew very quickly between 1976 and 1981, at an average of 7.2%, 89, it had a large amount of debt which made Chile the most affected nation by the Latin American debt crisis. In sharp contrast to the privatization done in other areas, Chile's nationalized main copper mines remained in government hands, with the 1980 constitution later declaring the mines inalienable. 90. In 1976, the state-owned enterprise Codelco was established to exploit them. A new law in 1982 opened new mineral deposits to private investment. 91. In November 1980, the pension system was restructured. Critics argue the neoliberal economic policies of the Pinochet regime resulted in widening inequality and deepening poverty as they negatively impacted the wages, benefits, and working conditions of Chile's working class. 99-100. According to Chilean economist Alejandro Foxley, by the end of Pinochet's reign, around 44% of Chilean families were living below the poverty line. 101. According to the shock doctrine by Naomi Klein, by the late 1980s, the economy had stabilized and was growing, but around 45% of the population had fallen into poverty, while the wealthiest 10% saw their incomes rise by 83%.
Right. So right here, you're seeing the bias, right? You also have to remember in the 1980s, the U.S. economic policy was towards communism. So most American economic textbooks were praising Russia at the time for their economic model coming out of the 1970s. As capitalist as U.S. was on the ground, the academic structure of the United States economics was always in favor of centralized communist-style markets. So you can see right here that no matter how incredible the Chilean economy was growing all throughout the second half of the 1970s, because of Piaget's reforms. And again, Piaget's reforms included literally executing communists, which I'm not for. But you do need to kick them out or put them in prison. And even then, here you have the CIA mouthpiece, Wikipedia, still talking shit about how even though Piaget became the biggest, fastest, most capitalistic country in Latin America at the time and how fast they were growing, all they want to talk about is the inequality gap and how everyone is poor and how everyone is doing terrible. Okay, so you can see it right here from the text. Okay, but the only country that was better than at one point than Chile during this time period was Venezuela, and then Venezuela decided to bring in communism, and then you saw what happened there. Okay, but this is how Chile got out of its horrendous economic situation, was with this stand. So I'm not sure how I ended up on this tangent. Where was I? Oh, if Trump gets elected. So if Trump gets elected, if Trump gets elected and then half of current politicians get arrested, there may be a potential change in America, right? Now, which politicians are you going to arrest? Well, you need to arrest the ones that are being bribed by the military-industrial complex, the ones that are being bribed by the pharmaceutical companies, the ones that are, full-blown Marxists. You got to get rid of them. Will he have the ability to arrest them? He will not. He will not have the justification to arrest them unless he got his hands on the Epstein files. Now, if Trump got his hands on the Epstein files and he has the dirt on all of these politicians, he can then use that dirt to arrest the politicians, not for the dirt that they've done, right? Like, let's say a quarter of all of the current politicians have pictures of them or videos of them engaging in sexual conduct with minors. And by minors, I don't mean someone that's 17 and is debatable. I literally mean minors, like Hunter Biden style, like clearly 12 years old and not debatable. And you don't have to arrest them for that. You arrest them for putting themselves in a position to be blackmailed by that, right? Either way is fine with me. You get rid of all of these people. Any politician that put themselves in a position to be blackmailed needs to be arrested for destroying the country, okay? Now, if Trump is able to do that, right? I mean, I think that's the only justification Trump will have to arrest half of the politicians. And yes, 85 to 90% of them will be Democrats, and the other 10 to 15% of them will be Republicans. Okay, he's got to go after both sides. And honestly, after he arrests about 8 or 9 of them, the rest will start singing like a canary and resigning. Okay, that is step one. Is that enough to reverse the Titanic? No, because by the time Trump gets into office, there will probably be a war in Taiwan, and Russia will be at full war with Germany and France. So there was going to be very little Trump can do to stop it, because the moment he tries to stop it, he will be, seen as a Putin stooge. There's no reversing this Titanic. I almost want to vote for Joe Biden. I mean, the faster the ship sinks, the sooner off the world will be. Like putting Trump in a position that America splits under Trump's watch, would allow the evil people to then accuse Trump of breaking up the country. And I don't want that, because I actually think Trump means well. I can't recommend a broker for options trading. I know we're going all over the place here. I'm just going with the questions. I use Interactive Brokers. I've used Options Express in the past. It's really up to you and your preference. We talked about Macron. The Crimean Bridge is civilian infrastructure. If Germany destroys that bridge, if I was Putin, I would declare a full-blown war on Germany. And I don't see why Putin would not declare full-blown war on Germany. And if every European country wants to join in and help Germany, so be it. Because by destroying that bridge, Germany would have declared war on Russia without actually declaring war, because Europeans are too gutless. They're same thing with the US. They can't declare war. They just do this gutless shit so that the other guy declares war. You know, it's like sticking your finger like in a bully's face because you're afraid to punch him in the face, and you're waiting for him to punch you in the face so he gets in trouble. You want to fight a bully? Go and punch him in the face. Don't like wave your finger in his face waiting for him to punch you. It sounds like Olaf is not in charge of his country. I believe Taurus missiles are already in Ukraine. They just don't have anyone to fire them yet. And I think Olaf is freaking out because his missiles might already be in Ukraine. I didn't listen to Biden's State of the Union. I've listened to commentary about Biden's State of the Union. It wasn't a speech about the State of the Union. It was a speech about how Trump is evil. It's Biden is an embarrassment to humanity at the moment. Where's the new Rome being built? I don't know what reference that's for. I mean, there is Rome, right? There's Rome is a city in Italy. There is no new Rome. Like, I hate to break you the crazy news. The Rome and the people inside the Vatican are not in control of the world. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not on that bandwagon. Stalin liked a lot of people and his own. I think you mean killed a lot of people. Correct. Stalin did kill a lot of people, including his own. Of course, he did. I'm not saying Stalin's a good guy. I hate Stalin. I despise Stalin. Stalin was an evil person. I despise Marxism. I despise communism. Right? But well, there's no but, really. What happened between Russia and Germany in World War II is unrelated to that. Why humans start wars? Is it real money or power? It's a combination of things. Again, why Europeans want to start a war with China, I don't know. I think it's a combination of being bribed and being brainwashed for the last 40 years. I don't know. I don't have another explanation for it. Winston, do you think Trump should have done the SOTU rebuttal? I don't know what that. I don't know what SOTU means. When there was a national audience and media coverage, rather than Repub senator that came across as I'm sorry, Winston. I'm not understanding your question at all. Where escape to? I have no idea. I don't have a good answer for you. On a boat. You know, but then we end up in the war world, and that's not gonna make things better either, right? Like, I have no idea. I don't have a good escape plan for you. The best escape plan, to be honest with you, is to just go live in the woods, turn off the TV, and not pay attention to this shit. You know, it's the best escape. Just turn it all off. Like, stop giving a shit. Like, I just turn it off. You know, install a nice big machine gun in your window, and if anyone is walking up to your cabin, that's with guns, just make sure you got a lot of. It's like one of those, because when I was in Vietnam, not in the war, but when I was in Vietnam, I went to the area where the war was, and I was standing on a back of a Jeep, on a back of a Jeep, firing one of those machine guns. It was massive. And yeah, you install one of those and live without watching any YouTube or listening to any news. That's the best escape plan. Tone, do you see Chinese troops in Ukraine? Absolutely not. No, I can see North Korean troops in Ukraine, but not Chinese. No, Chinese are way too diplomatic to send their troops into Ukraine. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Also, Russia doesn't need them. The reason why Russia is doing so well in Ukraine is because it's their people. They're not integrating another army into their army. This is why they're doing really well in Ukraine. They're very slow in Ukraine, but they're doing really well in Ukraine as far as taking land back. Oh, SOTU is State of the Union. Okay. So let's try this again. Do you think Trump should have done the State of the Union rebuttal? No, he should have done his own State of the Union. Like screw the rebuttal. Trump should have went on and did his own version of the State of the Union, because the State of the Union needs to be about the State of the Union. It's not about your political opponents. It's not about what ice cream you ate yesterday, right? It's supposed to be about the State of the Union. So what Trump should have done was to make his own State of the Union with the information that he has. And as a former president, Trump still gets presidential briefings. Now, I'm sure they are very filtered because everybody hates Trump. But Trump could have done his own State of the Union, where the country is and where the country is headed once he is president. So that's what I would have advised Trump to do. Tone, can you explain how the Bitcoin futures price affects the current price? It doesn't. That's it. Explanation done. I already explained stable coins. I would love to go to Palawan. Palawan is one of my must-visit destinations before I die. Palawan. Thanks, man. I don't know. I don't think Bitfarms has much of an upside now. I think Bitfarms is getting too close to the halving. I'm not as interested in investing in Bitcoin miners anymore. Their big move has come and gone. Do you think a huge sell wall of Bitcoin at 100K? I don't know, guys. Let's talk about 100K when we get to 90K. Lee, where are you, Lee? That's Winston. Oh, what happened? There was another super chat. Oh, Winston, you did your super chat twice. Here's Lee. Have you heard of the first faith-based? Oh, Jesus Christ. Why are you on my channel? Thank you for the super chat, but like I'd rather not have you super chat asking about some scams. Do you recommend trying to pay off your? Oh, yeah, I already answered that. Tone, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin layer 2 solutions such as STX? I'm not a fan of STX. Ordinals, I'm not a fan of ordinals. Extensions, I don't know what extensions are. I like the liquid sidechain and I like Lightning. I don't care about anything else at the moment. Everything else to me is not good. Bitfarms, I already commented on. Thoughts on stablecoins, already commented on. Thoughts on post-halving price? Too early to give thoughts on that. Idea why New Zealand seems to be such a popular destination among billionaires to build doomsday bunkers. Other than geographical locations, I have no idea. To me, there is a higher probability that the New Zealand, the Marxist head of New Zealand will confiscate your bunker. So why on earth people? I mean, it's nice climate and it's good meat, but why on earth people think New Zealand is gonna, the people in charge of New Zealand, your kings and rulers of New Zealand, are not woke as fuck, and not following the WF Communist Marxist playbook? I don't know. I thought the pandemic would have proved it to them, but I don't know. I would never build my bunker in New Zealand. Edward Snowden was hinting a nation state was quietly accumulating Bitcoin. I honestly, I think way too many people like take what Edward Snowden says like it's a voice from God. Like, I'm sorry, like I barely pay attention to what Edward Snowden says because I don't think he understands Bitcoin all that well, right? Like Edward Snowden did an incredible thing for the world, showed the atrocities of the US, as far as what they're doing to data collection. But listening to Edward Snowden on the future of technology and how Bitcoin and like, how does he know that? Well, like, I don't think he has that information. Honestly, half the things Edward Snowden says, he's just guessing and just blurring it out there. And then people listen to it like it's a voice from God. Like, I don't want to talk shit about Edward Snowden, but over the last like 7 years, some of the stuff he says is like random stuff that he makes up, like in my opinion. He has absolutely zero evidence to back anything he's been saying for the last 7 years. When am I coming back to Australia? Uh, Somewhere between unlikely and never. Like, I know I have a lot of fans in Australia, but uh, you guys are like your politicians. I'm boycotting the country because of the politicians you elect. I'm sorry. I have zero plans to go to Australia. What do you think of the restrictions on chip exports to China set by the US? Well, they failed. They failed. Well, they thought China would take like a decade to have competing chips, and China's already got there within like 16 months. Not to mention Taiwan is China's biggest trading partner because the majority of Taiwan is pro mainland China. Just like more than half Ukraine was pro mainland Russia. That's why a Russian leaning president kept getting elected until there was a coup to overthrow him. I can't do dark mode. I can't do dark mode. I can't analyze charts in dark mode. I can turn charts into dark mode by analysis would be shit. I can't analyze charts in dark mode. Yeah, I already talked about Germany. In Panama, do you not pay taxes from revenue generated overseas? No, you don't. Yeah, a catamaran would be nice. My friend is selling his really cool catamaran in Miami. All right. Russian speaking doesn't mean to be pro-Russia. It doesn't, but there is a significant correlation, right, between Russian speaking and pro-Russia, right? So if you take all of Ukrainians and you separate them between Russian speaking Ukrainians and non-Russian speaking Ukrainians, which half is going to be pro-Russia? So there is a major correlation, right? To be pro-Russia and wanting to integrate with Russia, one of the biggest factors is Russian is your main language of choice. So yes, there are no absolutes, right? Not every Chinese person is short, right? This is the old argument from Stefan Molyneux, if anyone ever ran across him. Like, he used to say that, basketball players are tall and Chinese persons are short. And then someone will scream out, I know a tall Chinese person. Yes, Yao Ming. That's an exception. That's not the norm, right? So yes, not all Asians are short, but Asians are shorter than, say, Norwegians. So yes, not every Russian speaker is pro-Russia, but anyone that lives on a border of Russia that would rather be part of Russia than their current country is going to be Russian speaking. It doesn't work the other way. Oh, okay. I learned what TSM is. All right, cool. Uh, I'm not familiar with TSM stock. No, wait, that's TMS. TSM, yeah, the best chip maker in the world. They're doing great. And guess who's buying their chips? China. Putin said in his interview about some of the new Polish land, which were gifted by Joseph Stalin. Yeah, but I don't think Russia is going to go into Poland. I don't have enough Bitcoin to afford a country, guys. I'm sorry. I wasn't in early enough, and not even close, right? Um, I will not even come close to being able to buy an island. I'm not as rich as people think I am. What is El Salvador? Boots on the ground. I'll be in El Salvador. Thanks, Mal, for vouching for the options course. I'm not really into AI or shitcoins pretending to be AI. I don't understand why people think that I think that Russia is so great. I don't live in Russia. I haven't been to Russia since like 2017. I've been to Ukraine a dozen times. I've been to Russia maybe twice. And you're projecting your own bias. Russia is being one of the only reasonable voices in this conflict, when everyone else just wants Russia to start a nuclear World War III. And they might. Russia might do it. Russia might push the button first. And you know what? I wouldn't even be angry at them. Based on what the world is doing to Russia right now, I would not even be angry if they did. Surprised they haven't done it already. I think it's too late to save the United States as a single nation. I think the Democrats will have Gavin Newsom stand for election. I explained why in the last video. Did Sweden join NATO this week? They did. Yeah. Erdogan is all talk and no cojones. Erdogan always gives in. Erdogan was preventing Sweden from joining NATO, and eventually he gave in. Yes, Malay was elected. He cut 50% of the government, but Malay is also going to Israel and going to Ukraine and wants the fighting to be greater than it currently is. So I am not a fan of Malay. I think Malay is a really bad actor, and I had other videos going into detail on Malay. Uh, I mean, I think Ramaswamy is the best choice for vice president. I would have said uh, RFK would be the best choice for vice president, but Trump would never take RFK as his vice president. And RFK's current position on Israel-Gaza makes RFK unqualified to, be president or vice president. It's unfortunate because I like RFK's positions on pretty much everything. I'm a little dicey on his climate change view, but he's explained it fairly well. But RFK's position on the Israel-Gaza conflict, I believe, makes RFK unqualified for president. Now, keep in mind, 99% of current politicians are unqualified for presidents for similar reasons. And but RFK lost my vote with his, kill everybody in Gaza stance, basically. So unfortunately, RFK is no longer in my good graces. Ignore me writes, Tone's good old just endless appease the aggressor strategy. The biggest aggressor in the world is the United States. The United States is the aggressor, not Russia, in this conflict. The United States is the real aggressor because this is not a war against Ukraine and Russia. This is a war between NATO and Russia. And NATO is the aggressor. Ukraine is just a battlefield. Ukraine has only been a country for since 1991. There was never a country of Ukraine. I liked Ukraine. I would have loved to see Ukraine continue as a country, but the US wanted nothing to do with Ukraine remaining a country. They just wanted to turn it into a bloody battleground. So the aggressor here is the United States, not Russia. That's the aggressor. Mr. Gupta writes, COVID restrictions have ended, so why did it matter what government did and which country was more strict? If you don't understand why that matters, again, I'm not sure why you are on my YouTube channel. You are one of the reasons why there were restrictions in the first place, because of people like you who don't understand why the restrictions, why ending of the restrictions suddenly made everything okay again. That's not how freedom works. The reason why those restrictions have ended is because of people like me. If it wasn't for people like me, you would still be living under those restrictions, because it wasn't people like you that like endlessly fought and got their channels shadow banned and their income crushed, fighting for what's right. That's what happened to me. I got completely shadow banned, and my income in 2019 versus my income in 2022, my income in 2022, and I'm almost ready to show people my tax returns. My income in 2022 versus 2019, or 2021 for that matter. 2020 was a weird year, and I didn't start getting shadow banned till later that year. But my income in 2019 versus 2021 was down 90%. I lost 90% of my annual income. My tax filing in 2019 was 8 times bigger in how much money I made versus 2021. And that was because of me taking a stance against the fraudulent election, against COVID, and against all of this other insanity. Right? I took a 90% pay cut for what I believe in. Have you done that? Probably not. All right, trying to get to the bottom of your chat here. Ireland voted against changing our constitution yesterday. Okay. They wanted to remove the word mother and add durable relationship instead of marriage. I'm surprised that got voted down. Guys, Ireland is in the deep West EU, which again is brainwashed into wokeism as fuck. I'm more surprised this got voted down and not passed, and with people not being imprisoned for saying the word mother instead of birthing person. Again, I don't see how this ship is going to get reversed until the educational system is completely overhauled. You have to realize that 99% of every college professor, 99%, like 99 of 100 college professors are Marxist communists. Like, I don't see how there's going to be a reversal in this trend. Shit, it took me like 6 years after college to understand that I was brainwashed by 7 years of college education. And I come from a communist country. Like, if it took me, if I was brainwashed back into the Marxist ways, what chance does the average person have? And they don't even know, and they'll never know. Motorist, I agree with you. It's not that Biden doesn't care about, a radioactive World War III. He doesn't even know where he's standing. Uh, Jayco, I'm not sure if you're referring to like the ETF tracker being this one. I mean, I can give you the URL, like it's not a secret. There's people that do this better than me. I just like having my own data. So I just put this link in the chat group. All right, I'm still like I'm on the state of the okay. No, I still haven't caught up. Like I'm still way far up the chat here. I'm just going through the chat. Yeah, SOTU, State of the Union, got it. Now I know. Um, Vendor Hayes, did you know Dutchman Henk Sneevliet was influential in Mao Zedong's and his communist rise in China? Well, look, like 80% of uh, the rise of communism in Russia were Jews. So, yes, there's bad advisors out there. Is on the yuan bill to this day. Personally, I don't see China as being a communist country anymore. A little more dictatorial than I would like, but I don't see them as a communist country, and I don't see Russia as a communist country. I don't need to be a military strategy when shit is obvious. Trump made too many dumb mistakes. First off, Trump hired way too many neocons in his cabinet. Second, Trump armed the Ukrainians. Trump did not have the balls to fire Fauci. Trump gave in to the lockdowns. Trump did a lot of stupid stuff. No, I'm not paying attention to the Irish referendum. Oh, yeah, it's the same question. Do you think we're looking at an accelerated cycle with an early top or a double top like in 2021? I have no idea. I don't think it'll be an early cycle. What effect will the US election have on the Bitcoin tops? I don't know because I don't know who's running for election. You're wrong about Taiwan. Which part am I wrong about Taiwan on? The part where the American government states that they oppose any unilateral change to the status quo of the one China policy and they do not support any Taiwanese independence? Am I wrong on this? I mean, this is the official government policy that Taiwan is part of China. And the American policy does not support any Taiwanese independence. I mean, that's the official government policy. I mean, am I wrong? Is the official government policy different? And if the unofficial government policy is different, why isn't it the official government policy? And in that case, doesn't that mean that the United States government is at war with China if they have a secret, non-public policy against China? This is what happened in Russia and Ukraine. Yeah, Rusty, it would be awesome if you run for Prime Minister of Australia. I'll be back. The majority of Taiwanese people are with mainland China. Contrary to what you see on the news, contrary to the people that you meet that fled Taiwan, the Taiwanese people that want to continue living in Taiwan and have not migrated to the US are with China. The United States is doing all they can with the educational system in Taiwan, to brainwash the Taiwanese to be anti-mainland China. But the majority of the people that currently live in Taiwan will be pro-China. That's the statistic. I'm just quoting statistics. I've never been to Taiwan. That's the statistic. Again, the majority of the people living in East Ukraine were pro-Russia. That's the real statistic, contrary to what the Western media will want you to believe, that every single person that has a foot in the territory of Ukraine is anti-Putin and pro, removal of Russian churches, removal of the Russian language. That's insane. The majority of East Ukrainians are Russian. Now, they were being exterminated, basically, so a lot of them had left. So when that happens, right, like when you claim that when this side of the country is being, killed, and most of these people leave, yes, the majority of your country then becomes anti-Russia, right? But before 2014, before the overthrow of the Russian-leaning majority elected president of Ukraine, more than half the country was pro-Russia. That's how you end up with a president that's pro-Russia, because more than half your country is pro-Russia. And then when you get rid of that person and enact policies that openly allow you to kill people on this side of the country, you end up in a civil war, and people want to flee, and now you change the balance of your country to be pro-West Ukraine instead of pro-East Ukraine, which is, again, how Yanukovych was elected to begin with. I'm not going to be advisor for shitcoins. I don't care how much money it has. Look, I'm not rich, but I have enough money not to work for anyone again. Now, to some people, that means millions of dollars. To other people, it's being savvy with a few $100,000. Depends where you live and how you spend. I am capable of earning $100,000 a year. And that's all I need to live comfortably without working for anyone. That's a great question. Tamer Dochdul writes, "Hi, Tone, since it's geopolitics time, do you think Trump will pressure Israel to stop their shit if he won?" So this, I'm going to go out on a limb. I personally, or maybe this is hopeful thinking, because as you guys know, I am a pro-Trump person. I actually believe that Trump is only saying how pro-Israel he is. I think once Trump is elected, he will not be a pro-Israel candidate. I think that Trump being anti-Israel's position of killing every Gazan is a dangerous position for him to be in going into the election. RFK went a little too far with his pro-Israel views. Trump is being a little more democratic, but he remains pro-Israel. I think once Trump is elected, he will not be pro-Israel anymore. But it's very dangerous for his political campaign to be anti-Israel. And I'm not saying Trump is going to be anti-Israel. But I believe, as President Trump in his second term, he will look to end the genocide going on in Gaza by putting lots of pressure on Israel. That is my opinion, and I do not have a lot of confidence in that opinion, but that is my opinion on Trump's Israel position. Any concern for less strength behind this last move? Not really. Not really. We're talking about Bitcoin now. I'm not sure what this is in reference to. Block Chiver writes, they fought communists to death and ended up on the island to escape from them. And now they want to become mainland Chinese. You guys are saying, so that's not how it works, okay? So we're talking about Taiwan here, right? Yes, in a perfect world, they would have won the fight against the communists in the 1940s or whenever that was. I'm not that, I don't know Chinese history as well as US or Russian history. They did fight them as much as they can, and they went to Taiwan. Now, remember, those people are already dead. The people that fought the communists are dead. This is what I said about if Europe, the demographics in your country changes over the years, okay? Just like it's possible that France becomes a Sharia law country where 3 out of 4 people are Muslim and of Arabic descent because they have such open immigration, and 20 million Arab Muslims move to France, and they have 3 to 4 children each, and the traditional French have maybe 1 child on average, and they don't like how their country is going with immigration, and they leave their own country and spread out, and suddenly France becomes a Muslim nation in the middle of Western Europe. It's the same thing with Taiwan. Those people that fought the communists are long gone. And China had a lot of influence over Taiwan for the last 30, 40 years. And a lot of Chinese have infiltrated Taiwan, right? So again, it's not about what you want, and it's not about what I want. It's about the reality of Taiwan today. And the reality of Taiwan today is that the majority of the people living on the island of Taiwan see themselves more as integrated with mainland China than see themselves as, a country completely independent with no relation to Taiwan like a Japan. Okay? Now, maybe this was the secret plan of communist China to slowly infiltrate, 1 baby at a time. And now 70 years later, the majority of the people in Taiwan are pro-mainland China. It doesn't matter how it got there, but America is trying their best to convince the world and the Taiwanese that they're best served being anti-mainland China. But it's a hard battle because China has more influence over Taiwan than US does. And considering that the people that have originally, let's say, colonized the island of Taiwan were mainland Chinese people, they still share the same ancestry. And it doesn't matter that those people got there by fighting against the communists. And the current Chinese are not the communists of the past. Malay does want more war. I am not a fan of Malay. I'm a fan of some of his policies. I'm a fan that he wants to get rid of the government bureaucracy. I'm a fan that he wants to stabilize their currency. But I think Malay's crazy ideas are more batshit crazy than some of the neocons. And I think when it's all said and done, the world will see that Malay did not actually do as much, did not help Argentina as much as he thinks he will. Malay doesn't want to do any business with Brazil, his biggest trading partner, because they're neighboring nations. Malay thinks that Brazil is a communist country. Malay's brain is also a little messed up. Okay, Lula is a bit of a Marxist, but Malay doesn't want to do any business with the BRICS. He has taken Argentina out of the BRICS, and he wants to align Argentina with the United States. And considering how Georgia and Ukraine aligning with the United States has done them incredible good, and I'm being sarcastic here, it literally caused death of their people, and how aligning with the United States, being Taiwan, will potentially cause a massive death of Taiwanese. Argentina getting too close to the United States could potentially have the United States influence Argentina into a war with Brazil. I would not be surprised if American influence convinces Argentina to be the next Ukraine against Brazil in order to slow down the advancement of the BRICS. And this is why Milei is a very, very dangerous politician, because of his relationship to the Western politicians and the World Economic Forum that will potentially lead Argentina against their interest in causing military conflicts with their neighbors, because the United States is not happy with the relationship between Brazil and Russia and Brazil and China. And in order to slow down the relationship between Brazil and Russia and Brazil and China, Milei is the perfect candidate to start trouble on the border between Argentina and their neighbors. So I think while Milei has some potential of meaning well and doing well, Milei has it's like one of those fat tail scenarios, right? Where there is a non-trivial probability that Milei would be influenced by the World Economic Forum and American neocons to start military trouble in the south of Latin America. I mean, the mere fact that America is happy that Milei was elected should worry you. Ukraine did not exist before the Soviet Union. That's insane. I don't know. A cat with numbers in their name writes that Ukraine existed before the Soviet Union. It did not. Ukraine didn't even exist before 1991. Forget Soviet Union. Soviet Union started in 1917. There was like a 9-month period where Ukraine, where a part of current Ukraine was quasi its own country, because they were fighting with Nazi Germany and Hitler promised them their own country. So like during 1942, I think, there was a country of Ukraine with Ukrainian currency. You know how you know that there's never been a country of Ukraine? There is no historical ancient Ukrainian coins. Show me a Ukrainian currency before 1991. And that's how you know if your country was ever a real country. There was no Ukraine. It didn't exist. It's just facts. I don't know who's telling you that there was a Ukraine before 1991. Again, other than like 9 months during World War II, because they were, Hitler promised them their own country. And that's why a big chunk of Ukraine was fighting with Hitler, and they were Nazis. And then Russia completely took it over, and that kind of ended. So considering you've never been a real country, you really want to be careful how you piss off Russia. Like, this is so frustrating to me because, well, I'm half Ukrainian, but not anymore, I guess. Now I'm fully Russian again. But I am half Ukrainian, but my half of Ukrainian is from this side of the river. From this side of the river. No one wants to talk about the Ukrainians from this side of the river. They only want to talk about the Ukrainians from over here. No one wants to talk about the Ukrainians from here. All right, wow, your chat just keeps going and going and going. Crypto Crackhead, thank you for your pound donation. I'm guessing you're in the UK. Hoping you, well, I wouldn't want to live there, so good luck to you. Yeah, I'm still alive. Homosexuality in Russia is a crime and punishable 7 years in prison. Okay, so if you're a homosexual, don't go to Russia. Like, if you're not a homosexual, how does that law apply to you? Right? Again, right? Countries can apply whatever, can make laws that they like. And if you don't like the laws of your country, you can leave if you're allowed to leave. And you are allowed to leave Russia. You're not accepted anywhere. But yeah, also, I can tell you for a fact that there are homosexual Russians. Well, that statement could be taken out of context. But there certainly are homosexual Russians. And Putin even says in his speeches, whatever you do behind closed doors is none of our business. You do whatever the hell you want. And I can tell you that if you are a homosexual in Russia and you want to have sex behind closed doors with whoever you like, the country will leave you alone. It is no different than the Middle East. But if you were going to walk around the street with a rainbow flag, yes, you can be thrown in jail for 7 years. Now, you don't like that law. You don't have to like that law. But it's not your place to tell Russia how to change their laws. If you don't like it, don't go there. Don't live there. Okay? I have no problem with the drug laws in Dubai. I don't do drugs. I have no problem living in Dubai. If you smoke weed every day and you are gonna and you complain, why is there such harsh drug penalties in Dubai for doing drugs? That's their law. You don't like it? Don't go there. No one is forcing you to go to Russia and be a homosexual. It was funny. I was in this debate with, of course, a professor. And this was right after Roe v. Wade was overturned and the power was given back to the states. And of course, she was total, full-blown commie. Again, professor, liberal arts, NYU, I think. Not surprised. And she was complaining about Roe v. Wade overturned. And like, for example, people didn't want to come to, like, I don't like going to certain states, right? Like, I don't like going to California because of their insane laws. And then she's like, well, I'm not going to Texas and Oklahoma anymore because she was like making a big statement out of it. Well, Oklahoma made this law that you only have like 6 weeks before you can get, otherwise you can't get an abortion, and that is wrong. And everyone should be able to, kill their babies up to the day before they get, they're born and whatever. And she's like, I am not going to Oklahoma anymore because of this. And I'm like, okay, great, don't go. Like, no one's forcing you to go to Oklahoma. All right, don't go. I'm sure they don't want you there either. Don't go. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, hey, you want to get an abortion? Go leave your state, go somewhere else. I mean, that's perfectly reasonable. Oklahoma enacted the law after the Supreme Court said a state can make the law. Oklahoma made the law. And people in Oklahoma that want to abort a baby later on can go to a neighboring state. They can go to California. They could do it in their 9th month if they like. California fully allows that, I believe. And that's fine. Okay, no one is forcing you. And that's the thing, right? Again, it's about your freedom of choices, right? You still have choices. Yeah, Trump was very naive, clearly, when he was in office. The EU screwed Ireland. The EU has screwed every single country that has entered the EU, except Germany, because Germany is the one that's screwing everyone that's entered the EU. Germany has been the biggest beneficiary from the EU merger, and everyone else has, the politicians have gotten rich. Let me explain that, okay? So every single politician that has entered their country into the EU has benefited. The people of every single country that has entered the EU have not really benefited. Again, DR4, show me a picture of a Ukrainian currency pre-1991. And by doing that, you will try to prove to me that Ukraine was ever a country at some point in a 2,000-year history of the world, excluding some 1942 currency with swastikas on. It's not that Taiwanese want to become part of China. It's that the Taiwanese understand that they are under a one China policy. The #1 economic partner of Taiwan is China. If Taiwan becomes aggressive to China, Taiwan would have no industry at all. Again, China is going to get more aggressive, and eventually they're going to eliminate all of the NGOs. Like China is not happy that like a Russian stooge got elected as a Russian stooge, an American stooge got elected in the Taiwanese election. China is very angry about that because had it been a fair election, that would not have happened. And by fair election, I mean had American NGOs have not been all over the Taiwanese universities and pushing their candidate and financially supporting their candidate, the election in Taiwan would have gone very, very different. Yes, I do believe. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, I should read the question. Tone, do you think Putin is really an independent politician? 100%. I saw a bit of performance in the interview with Tucker. He's an independent politician. Putin is not, Putin doesn't answer to a higher authority. Every single European politician answers to a higher authority, either Klaus Schwab or the United States State Department. I went over stocks in the beginning. Were you ever afraid that the U.S. government will go after you for being close to the Capitol on Jan 6th? There's a reason why I don't discuss those incidents anymore. All right, let's keep going. Brezhnev was a Russian national and he was unlived in a helicopter accident. He was a general. Okay, that's more of a statement. Again, it's not that they want to become part of mainland China. They know they're not going to have a choice because the only other outcome other than merging with mainland China is the outcome of Ukraine. I mean, you can want Taiwan to be the next Ukraine. I mean, that's fine. You can want that for Taiwan. I don't. But either Taiwan is the next Ukraine or Taiwan will fully integrate with China. Those are the only two possible outcomes. It's not about what we want. It's about the reality on the ground. The United States is doing their best to create a Ukraine scenario in Taiwan. That's it. And if the United States didn't meddle in Taiwan, then China would have left Taiwan alone. And as long as everyone agrees to call Taiwan China, Taiwan can go on and doing whatever they want to do. But with these aggressive military, with this aggressive military support, Taiwan will be fully integrated by China. Oh no, I'm very happy I sold the condo and I got rid of the car. Yeah. Again, the United States has mostly controlled and influenced the education system in Taiwan. So most of the people you will meet will be anti-China, which will get the country in a lot of trouble, just like Ukraine. This is the Ukraine playbook all over again happening in Taiwan. Let's see if we can get some Taiwan polls on mainland integration. But it can't be from a US source, right? Pew Research, ah, let's see what they say. Let's see what they say. I would be careful with Pew Research. So again, you have to keep in mind, right? Ukraine also wanted to have closer relations with the US, and look what happened to Ukraine. Georgia wanted to have closer relations to US. Look what happened to Georgia. Okay. So people, when people get brainwashed to want something, they don't realize that that want could lead to their death, which is what's happening in Ukraine. But I would be careful with Pew Research. It's hard to Google this stuff as well, because remember, all of the Western media will be biased towards the US. All right, anyway, we'll need to revisit this topic another day. All right, I need to finish up soon. Again, Malay, I am very skeptical on Malay. It's very hard to tell what's going on. And I will admit, China, Taiwan is my least knowledgeable subject. So it's very well I could be wrong on Taiwan. Taiwan and China is not on my priority knowledge list to follow up on. Like once missiles start flying between Taiwan and China, then I'll pay attention to it more. And the closer Taiwan gets to the US, the sooner that day comes. Yeah, I would not be surprised if there are gay clubs in Moscow. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'm reading your comments. Sasha writes, the life of gay people is not just about having sex behind closed doors. I don't know why we're still on this topic. It's about family, care, heritage, children, and many other normal values. Can you please educate me on how gay couples can have children? I mean, my knowledge of, anatomy and the medical field, I didn't study it, but explain to me how married people are going to have children. Please. Again, I have no problem with gay people. And do it behind closed doors. No one's going to bother you. So when you start doing it at parades outside for everyone to see, I have a problem. Not that I wouldn't have a problem if it was a heterosexual couple having sex in the middle of a parade, but when it's a gay or a transgender couple, it seems to be fully accepted by current woke society. Man, your comments just keep on going. How many viewers do we even have right now? We still have like 400. All right, KQH writes, I agree. Don't go to places where the laws don't align with you. But if you are born there and have your family there, it's different. Well, have you been born there? Is this the problem